Okay, hey, this is Old Gaming Guru, and I'm going to do a quick video on how to go from having a settlement such as Red Rocket or a potential settlement like Red Rocket to a completely functioning settlement in less than 10 minutes. And what I'm going to do first is, okay, just remind everybody if you have Heather Casdin, she's great because she has a store in which you can buy some of the materials you need to actually construct a settlement with. So it doesn't hurt to have her along. One, to carry stuff, and two, so that you could buy things that you're missing right then and there at the site, and you don't have to carry this stuff with you. So here's what you're going to need to be able to go ahead and build this Red Rocket into a fully functioning settlement. You can basically just put on autopilot and not have to go back to again. I forgot some food, so there you go. I have to go back and get plant some more food for the settlers. But this is what you need. Okay, so if you're having problems carrying all this stuff, give it to a companion or just buy the script versions for merchants, and then anyways head to Red Rocket outside of Sanctuary. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to build a small generator so we can power up the settlement and put a recruiting beacon there. You'll have to pardon me because sometimes I look around and not quite sure what I'm doing, but I figure it out eventually, so we'll get there. Anyway, so once that's up, we connect the power line to the recruitment beacon, and this will bring in my first settler. If a settler comes quickly, you can go ahead while you're in build mode, tell that settler to basically connect to your main settlement. Mine is Sanctuary, and once you do that, you'll have access to all the materials at Sanctuary. So I've got that up, I've got it powered, it's now asking for settlers. So what I want to do next, as you can see, I have nothing else here. I want to go ahead and start building out some resources for the settlers that come. I want to build them about 50 security, which means they won't get attacked for quite some time. And I want to make sure they have food and water in the beds that they need. And also a couple happiness buildings. Those buildings will make sure that I keep attracting settlers. But right now, first, let's start off, we'll put some water pumps in. I could go and build a larger one powered by a generator as if I wanted to, but right now I just want to go ahead and get that up. So the water problem is now solved. I've got 12 water, so let's get at least 6 food in, because 6 is the amount of food that one settler can actually manage. So I'm brought a couple things along with me to get to 6. Remember, if you want bigger settlements, you need to have as many food as you have settlers. So you have to assign settlers to them, which you do by looking at the settler, and then it'll say, go ahead and assign that settler. You then click on the E button on the settler. You then go to the food, and that will assign that settler to the food. And then it will turn green. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in a happiness building. And I do this, I've got a really unique mod called Useful Deco Buildings, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. But once I build this bar, okay, I need to power it. I'm going to get a little bit more rubber and steel, so I didn't have to carry as much as I need, but 200 should be enough of each. But I'm going to get a couple more here, and also I'm clearing out some space for some more buildings. Okay, so I've got my bar up. Now let's go power it. Come on, brain work. There we go. Nope. Power. Oh, nope. Nope. Okay, so actually I'm going to put up a couple quick turrets here and get my defenses up before I power that up. By the way, you can see I've already drawn 2 settlers. But I get a couple machine gun turrets up. That perimeter that I'm putting stuff along is usually where NPCs invade from. So I've got that covered. Let's get a couple more things. I'm using up components here really quickly. But you can see you can get wood, rubber, just about everything you need by just scrapping around the Red Rocket, which makes it very, very useful site to put up a settlement. Plus, it also helps you defend your supply route to Sanctuary if you need to. All right, so we got our defenses up. We're already at 40. My goal was 50 at least. Let's go throw that medium generator up and power that bar. Happiness means that your settlers will stay, that you'll attract more settlers, and you start off, if you don't defend them, you will have to go ahead and build some happiness buildings. So if they don't have enough defense, they don't have enough happiness buildings, they get attacked and you don't help them, they lose happiness and they start to desert. So it's important to get your defenses up and put a happiness building in too so you can get to higher happiness levels. The next thing I'm solving, as you can see here, is I'm putting in beds. These are part of the useful deco buildings. And as you can see, every building I build puts in 6 beds, and they're not very expensive. So there's my first 2, and I got 12 beds. I found a settler, so I am now sending them to resupply me from my main sanctuary hub. So now that I'm connected, I have all the resources that I brought with me, plus all the sanctuary resources. And pardon me while I get a little ADHD and oh, you know what I'm trying to say is that I can't stand when buildings don't look good. So I've got my first little street going here. I've got 2 houses, a bar, so with 12 beds. I've got happiness cranking already. I'm going to put 18 in. And if I put one more, I'd be at 24. But I'm going to build 2 beds inside the shelter here, inside the Red Rocket, so that way I can sleep on them and they will serve to keep my settlers happy. So my first 20 settlers will be in a good place. Other things I can build is a bakery for income. I don't want income right now out of this settlement. I want a little bit more security. I can build a post office for some income, but I'm going to put up a police station. That police station will provide 7 security, so it's the same as having 2 machine gun turrets. A little bit better than that. So once that's up, I'm going to get it facing the right way so it's not, even though the doors don't work, and they're not meant to work, is I like my things to face so that settlement looks nice. I'll get my generator up to power it. Once that's done, I cook it up by using the space bar, and you can see my security's now jumped up, my defense has jumped up to 47. Okay, so I'm going to put another happiness building in, and that will be a store. This is not a functioning store, but it will provide you happiness, and it also requires a generator. So let's go throw that up real quick. Maybe I put a little too close to my food, but anyways, you get the gist. So generator goes in, I hook it up, and you can see it turns green, so it's operating. So now when my settlers come in, they're happy. They'll defend the settlement. They won't desert. I've got enough defense up. My defense needs to be higher than my resources and people. So if it's higher than my resources and people, raiders are less likely to go ahead and attack. You see, I found my other settler. I assigned them to the food. So now you see I have food for my 2 settlers. Each settler can serve up to 6 plants and make 6 food. And other options I've got here, Brahmin feed trough. I always recommend sticking one of these there unless you like running into cows all the time. So I always stick one there, and it also seems to draw the Brahmin there. And always put a bell in so you can get all your settlers, so you can find the settlers that aren't active. I don't think that having inactive settlers is bad, but anyways, getting a bell brings them all together so you can find out what they're working on. We'll put a couple more happiness devices for when we get more settlers, just because I want this to be done. So I'll be churning out 20 some happiness, which should get me above 80, which should make for a very healthy settlement, and maybe even up towards 100. All of this you need to have local leader at least 1 for. I would prefer that you have 2. That way you can add stores and stuff quickly to this as soon as you actually get more settlers here and increase your happiness and income further. So this is now a happy settlement Later, you can have it producing scrap and income by building the appropriate buildings. In this case, you'd build a bakery here with this particular mod. So that's it. I'm done. So the results of this were with this useful deco buildings. I had 9 minutes. I finished the settlement, and it's now self-sufficient. It can defend itself. It's connected to my main hub, and will hold 20 settlements without any issue. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. This is another video here by Old Gaming Guru on a great mod, useful deco buildings.